You are now listening to Wolf Sports Network at the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now on Odyssey Station.
We're back, baby. It's season 6 of Sports Out of Pocket, where the takes are cold and there is zero chill.
That's right, we're back with controversy. We're calling out the fakes, the frauds, and the failures.
Cash or Trash is back too. Your takes, your trades, we judge it all.
And we're bringing you stats, smack talk, and sleepers in our segment Fantasy Football.
And then we take you down to the 2-minute warning, where we try to plead our case on horrible sports takes.
And we're melting the ice with the return of Fire Me Up.
And you already know we bring you the coldest interviews in sports radio.
This is the Philly Sports Guy.
This is former MLB All-Star Justin Masterson.
Hey, yo, what up? My name is Josh Martinez from Z100 New York.
What up, guys? It's Tyrell Adams, former UWG linebacker.
One vet, 3 rookies. Sports Out of Pocket Season 6. Zero chill. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sports Out of Pocket's 2025 edition, spooky spectacular of Happy Halloween episode. I'm your host today, Nick Wild, and around the table, I have the best cast I could potentially do the show with. Across from me, the Bills fan, Mr. JT Groves. JT, how's your day going, man?
I love the Bills, man. I can't tell you how much I love the Bills. The Bills are my whole life, man. I love the Bills.
You're a big Bills fan, and I can truly tell, JT. And to the right of me, the biggest LeBron Glazer I've known since Brendan Willoughby Ray here at WSN, Grady Hamilton. Grady, how's your day going?
LeBron! Also, Kyle Pitts is hurt, so I'm not doing too hot right now.
I know you're a big Glazer of both, but to the left of me, a guy who continuously gets sacks. I'm pretty sure he's up there in the record books for sack leaders in college football history. Bobby Boucher. Bobby, how's your day going, man?
Y'all remember when Bobby Boucher showed up at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl? Do ya? Do ya?
I do
Yeah,
remember.
I remember that.
I do remember. Well, we have a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to get talking to about some college and NBA betting, and a little bit later on, we're going to get fired up about our NFL teams and the World Series. But with that, let's get into this spooky, spectacular show.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We in here talking about practice.
It's time for the latest sports controversies. And speaking of the words spooky and scary, Scary Terry Rozier and other NBA players have recently been arrested due to betting accusations that were confirmed to be true. Unfortunately, they got my guy Terry. I was a big fan of him on the Boston Celtics, but I want to ask y'all your opinions on these betting accusations and what really needs to be changed in this the NBA rules, or how it could potentially be shifted, starting with Grady.
Let them play, man. Let them play. No, I'm just playing. If you are going to bet on, especially if you're an NBA player, I don't feel like you should be able to bet on NBA games. I feel like that should be an obvious case because you can easily – that's taking the love of the game away, the loyalty of the game, and it's just ruining it for everybody. I mean, same with college, which we'll talk about in a little bit later. College players, yeah, they can bet on NBA, but they shouldn't be able to bet on college. So that's just my input.
JT?
I mean, I really think, and this is going to sound crazy conservative take from me here, but I don't think if you're an athlete, you should be able to bet, like, basically across the board, just because you get so much inside knowledge from different teams and stuff that you really do have an unfair advantage against other people.
That's a good take, JT.
Bobby?
I kind of agree with JT in the fact of, like, if you're not playing that sport, I don't think it's really a big deal if you're gambling on it or not.
Grady?
That's right. I apologize. Today's mixing me up.
I said that.
But yes, I agree with Grady that I do think that, like, if you're not playing a sport, you like whatever. Because, like, my thing is, like, you can't promote it as much as these companies do and then expect people not to do it. You know what I mean? Like, think about all, like, the sports you watch. You go to a stadium, like how many FanDuel commercials you'll see during games, or how many ads.
DraftKings
exactly.
things you'll see.
I don't understand why they think this is not just going to be an issue when you promote it like that.
Do you think we can get sponsored by DraftKings?
No,
Oh.
we're not doing that. And there's a reason why. You know, they have certain restrictions, especially in certain states when it comes to betting. But when it comes to athletics and athletes in general, I don't think they should be allowed to be able to bet, especially if you're a athlete playing in that specific sport for that specific organization. And there's reasons why you've seen former NBA players being banned from there. You've seen in the MLB with the whole Shohei Ohtani thing and his interpreter with that David Fletcher. I know you know who David Fletcher is, Bobby Boucher. He was banned from the MLB because of betting and their reasons over there. Now,
Can we be real, bro? Like, how much more money do you need? Like, how greedy do you have to be to want more money?
Exactly.
You're a pro athlete. You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport.
Sometimes,
and you're trying to gamble to get even more. How greedy do you have to be?
Sometimes people, it's just not enough for them. But let's kind of shift the dynamic over to college sports. In pro sports such as the NBA, you are not allowed to bet. But for college sports, they now released that college athletes are allowed to bet in collegiate sports, even if you're part of a specific team. Now, Bobby Boucher, you're a big college athlete. Obviously, you play for Louisiana, Southeast Louisiana College, And I want to ask you personally, what are your thoughts on betting in collegiate athletes?
I mean, I don't really have an issue with it, I guess. Like, overall, I think gambling is kind of like, I just don't think anybody should do it personally. Like, I just think it's stupid because you get addicted to it and it can you just waste all your money away. But like, I know people want to do it. And like I said, they promote it like that. If you're in college, you're an adult. Barely, but you are an adult. So I do think that like if you're not betting on the sport you're playing, like I said earlier, I don't think there's really too much of an issue with it. But I personally don't really agree with them doing it, but I don't really have an issue with them doing it either.
Grady, JT?
I just don't know where you'd like draw the line in the sand at, because like what I was talking about earlier, like if you play a sport, you have connections to other dudes. So if you can't yeah, what are you laughing at, Jackson?
I'm not laughing.
Stop, bro. Cut that out. It's not funny. If you're like if you're talking like people that play sports, other people. So like what's stopping it from being either you can bet on games you're not playing in or you can bet on other sports? Like where do you draw the line, I guess, in that like aspect of it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to, I'm kind of going back on what I said earlier, but if you're able to, you should not be able to bet on a sport. You should not be able to bet as an athlete if that sport that you play, you're able to bet on. Like if you're a collegiate athlete, say you're a college football player, and we're able to bet on college football players and like college teams, you should not be able to bet whatsoever in that case.
I just got insider information that they are delaying the college betting ruling still, so it's not legal yet. So I want to make.
I guess they heard me.
I don't want to be mean. 21 hours ago was when they posted that on ESPN. So I don't know what your insider info is, but this has been for a second. I mean, I do agree with that. I think it's kind of crazy to let college athletes bet in general. Just because, like I said, the connections you have. Like, if you know a dude that just went up to the pros and you're like, hey, what's Josh Allen projected to get? He's like, oh, his leg's injured, so he's probably not going to be running for as many yards. I'm putting the under on that every single time. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that happens. It's where you have an unfair advantage.
I understand with you being a big Bills fan, JT.
Well, Josh Allen would never underperform.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is the biggest overperformer of all time.
I mean, you still see it like
Except for
Grady
the playoffs.
mentioned, like you get paid a large amount of a contract as a pro athlete, and even with collegiate athletics, they now get paid for NIL and have big deals over there. And what more do you need than a collegiate athlete contract than under the table betting such as DraftKings or even just bookies and stuff like that? I personally, as Nick the Fox, I've dabbled in a little bit of betting myself throughout my Zootopia days, but we're gonna kind of shift with that. And speaking of betting and big wins and cashing in, let's get into some fantasy football.
It's that time of the year again, and we're talking all things fantasy. Whether you're a 10-year vet or a first-year rookie, we've got you covered with some fantasy football.
Now, with my fantasy football team this week, I want to start with myself, the Sly Fox. And I ended up winning this past week. I'm super excited about that. I'm a top 4 team in the fantasy football league. Personally, I've dealt with a lot of injuries this season, but I like the highs and the looking ups. I have like a 64% chance to make the playoffs, which I'm comfortably sitting at right now. So I might have to make a deal with the commissioner, whoever the commissioner is, to maybe push some
Are we serious?
acquisitions through. But Grady, you lost to the Viking, Aiden Abe.
No, that was JT.
Oh, JT, my bad. JT, you lost to the Viking, Aiden Abe. What are your thoughts on your past performance?
Sorry, 1 second. My fantasy app's taking a while to load. Can you pass it to Grady real quick?
Grady?
Yeah, I'll tell you how my week went. So this past week, I mean, dude, my team's just like, I don't know what's going on at this point. I don't even remember if I won or lost. I haven't been paying attention that much, honestly.
You lost pretty bad.
I lost pretty bad, apparently.
It was
according
embarrassing.
to JT. But, I mean, the only high points on my team anymore are Jahmyr Gibbs, Travis Kelce, the Vikings defense, I guess. Malik Neighbors is out for the season. Like, I'm already cooked. There's no way I'm making the playoffs. But JT, I sent you a trade in your inbox, so if you want to check that out, yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. My team they underperformed this week against Aiden Navy. It's kind of embarrassing when you look at it across the board. I don't know why the Bears defense had 0 points. My kicker had 1 point. It was kind of embarrassing. I'm gonna need to go up there and coach up my team. Really give them a pep talk. Get our locker room leaders in there to give them a speech.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh my goodness, the Packers defense put up 7 points and they were on my bench.
Yeah, no, I had a really bad week, and I had a really bad win against Jackson Schrader, 74-44.
Jackson, you are the luckiest man alive, because other
Who's
than
Jackson?
Nick Fox, whatever your name is, bro,
No.
like you would have lost against any
Anybody
other
else?
team except for one.
Yeah, it's
You would
crazy.
have lost against any other team.
It's-
70 points should not win any week in fantasy.
It's actually wild because Brian Robinson Jr. I had to substitute because most of my starters were on bye. 0
the
points.
GOAT.
Jake Ferguson, who's been like one of the top tight ends in all of the NFL and fantasy this entire season, 0 points. Joey Sly, shout out Joey Sly, Tennessee Titans kicker, 1 point. The only highlight of my team this past week was Danny Dimes out in Indianapolis, putting up 23 points
That's
for me.
a really sad week when Daniel Jones is the
putting it
highlight of
over.
your week.
Daniel Jones is like one of the league candidates.
He's been
for-
almost Drake
yeah,
level.
he's
Not
been
quite
almost
Drake,
Drake
May, almost
level.
Drake May.
So
Wait,
I want
Melville.
to ask Melville. Yeah, I know Melville. I want to ask Bobby Boucher, what are your thoughts on your fantasy team this past week?
We did get the win over Grady.
We did get the win.
Put up
Yeah.
115. The only thing about this team, like obviously Drake May. It's just Drake May. We love Drake May. He's doing great stuff, playing great football. We do have injuries, though. We have a lot of injuries. Bucky Irving has been hurt for like a year now. I don't know if he's ever going to come back. Tajay Spears, though, did really well in his play. He's got 17 points, was not expecting. Chuba Hubbard has been terrible the last couple weeks. We may have to do something about that. Jalen Waddle had a good game. I'm not really happy that Jalen Waddle had a good game for my Falcons reason, but he did have a good week this week. Chris Boswell had a really good week, so kicker helping me out. My team's pretty mid. It's about as mid gets. Probably end up finishing the year around 500, a little bit above, and probably get eliminated in the first round.
Yeah, I heard JT's trying to trade either McCaffrey or Puka, so I mean, I definitely talked to him after the show to see if you're interested in one of those guys.
May have
But
to.
you're also playing him this week, so like, what are you looking forward to in that matchup against JT over here?
Looking forward to Josh Allen just saying that he's not going to play this week. He's going to take a week off. He's not going to show up to the game. That's what I heard anyway. Been hearing that.
I'm going to put you in the dirt, little boy. I'm going to. You're going to get cooked.
That's insane. So I do want to give a little update on the standings in our fantasy football league. In first place with the 7-1 record, Aiden Aby. Tied for second are JT Groves and Richard Reed with the 6-2 record. Tied for fourth is Drake Miller, Keyshawn Ward, and Jackson Voles, myself, with the 5-3 record. And then everybody else is pretty much 3-5 or 2-6. Everybody else is irrelevant.
I'm not irrelevant. 3-5 is just as good as
Yeah, my bad,
5-3.
Grady. I'm sorry.
Grady's making a deep playoff put. Like
I'm
late
going to
season
make the
push.
playoffs.
There's a trade JT sent me. That
You
I'm,
should have
checking out right
never
now.
traded away. What was the trade you did earlier in the season, Grady?
Well, to be fair, my whole team fell apart outside of that. It wasn't a. Sorry, I'm sorry, Grady. I'm not to speak over you.
No, I mean, like, my team's really falling apart. It's bad, but we definitely still have a shot to make the playoffs. But I definitely feel like I need to make some trades. And
I would like to speak on Grady's behalf real quick. Whatever loser decided to do our fantasy football draft on a Tuesday night in the middle of the week when some people have actual real jobs that they have to go to work at is a dork loser who deserves to be punished by the commissioner.
You're right, JT. I completely agree because who would decide to schedule it on a Tuesday night when other people have actual jobs and aren't able to attend and have spoken out that they can't attend this draft? And then the commissioner, who is waving his hand up and down over here wearing cat ears, decides that
Fox.
he wants to schedule it on a Tuesday, put everybody else down in the dumps so we have to auto draft. Just complete unfairness from the corrupt commissioner.
And we all
Corrupt
agreed.
commissioner.
We all agreed that Saturday morning that week would have been the best decision. Every single
When
person
everyone was
unanimously
awake for college game day.
for the first week of the season.
Sly Fox, dumb bunnies.
He's a furry dude. Oh
Anyways,
my goodness, I'm so sick and tired of
So
this guy.
honestly, yeah,
JT, why would you say that?
Great
you
input,
know,
JT.
whoever decided to do that was very, very smart and very, very handsome and very, very beautiful and very, very knowledgeable about the game of football. But JT, you are always our guy who brings up NFL players who you should hit on the waiver wire. Who are some starts? Who are some sits for you this week?
Actually, JT, I'll take over for you on this one. So
Thank you, Grady. Sorry, I'm just locked out this week.
No,
I
of
already got
course,
it.
man. I got you. So one guy that everybody needs to pick up this week is Tyrone Tracy. So we saw Cam Scadabo, horrible injury. He's going to be out for, they said most of the season, but it's a lot worse than they thought. And it's a lot worse than they thought. Cam Scadabo is going to be out for a while. Rest up, King. Not as good as Kyle Pitts still, but rest up. But Tyrone Tracy is definitely the guy to pick up. He's going to be that clear number one back with the Giants now. I feel like Devin Singletary is not going to do much with the Giants now. But Tyrone Tracy will be that number one guy, so pick him up if you can.
Yeah, Tyrone Tracy had a lot of highlights when he was the Giants running back last season. Devin Singletary didn't really do much. He hasn't really done much since really COVID year with the Buffalo Bills. And I know JT Groves over here is a big fan of the Buffalo Bills and Devin Singletary Bills. So, you know, it's a very interesting situation with the Giants.
I think they called him the
running back.
motor.
I think the Giants are
But I'm just Grady. I don't know if that's right or
the
not.
Giants.
Yeah, they did. They called him that.
The Giants are one of the most unluckiest teams because you see with their whole running back situation, like Saquon Barkley really only had 1 or 2 healthy seasons while being a part of the New York Giants organization. Cam Scadabo was probably the leading offensive rookie of the year, you know, in the candidate standings before his dislocated ankle and season-ending injury.
The brightest stars burn out the fastest. That's what
true.
they say.
So hopefully, you know,
Great quote, JT.
he recovers fast because even being an
I miss him
Eagles
already.
fan, even being the Eagles fan that I am, I'm still a big fan of Cam Scadabo. But make sure to go. By the way, make sure to go check out all the reels on Instagram and stay tuned for more Cam Scadabo reels we might do later this season. But Michael Miller. My bad. Bobby Boucher. Michael Miller's not here. Bobby Boucher. How are you feeling heading into your matchup this week? I'm not too sure who you play.
I feel horrible. I feel absolutely. I'm gonna get smoked this week. JT's gonna wipe the floor. with me.
JT's
I know
team is
you.
really
I
good,
know you
bro.
are a little boy.
That's wild.
Bro, JT did say that. He did say
You know,
that.
I feel the exact same way with my matchup this week because I have to face the top team in the league, Aiden Abbey.
Asked.
Aiden
Oh,
Abbey.
good one, JT.
That's so funny, JT. JT, you're
dressed
such a
up-
comedian. Oh yeah, what? No, say what you're gonna say, JT.
You're dressed up like a Zootopia character
Exactly.
in the big 2025. How old are you?
Richard, I still want Kyle Pitts wherever you are. I'm gonna take it to extreme extents. If you don't give me Kyle Pitts, you don't want to know what's gonna happen. But
I have a new song dropping, by the way, guys. You should check that out. I'm
This
JT
Friday.
Groves, and I'm dropping a new song on Friday.
This Friday.
Or is it Saturday?
Honestly,
I should
that
go listen
song
to that.
we might have to play later, and I might have to cash or trash it. But before we get into that, we're going to take a quick interruption, show some love to other shows. But when we come back, we're gonna have a great cash or trash. Stay tuned.
It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. You're listening to Sports Out of Pocket, live on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
It's time for Season 2 of The Playbook, and we're talking all things college football, putting together a better sophomore season than Tim Tebow in 2007.
To the listeners and everybody at Wolf Nation, I promise you one thing. You will never see an on-air personality work as hard as I will for Season 2 of The Playbook, and we will make this show better than any college football radio show will ever be for Season 2 of The Playbook.
Listen as we fulfill this promise, live, every Friday at noon.
Listen up, because I got to tell you, Sports Pack is back and better than ever right here on Wolf Sports Network. Sports Pack is UWG's one-stop shop for all things sports. From hot takes to heated debates and even your best bets for the week, Sports Pack has you covered. So don't miss out on the fun. Catch us right here on Wolf Sports Network every Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. See you there.
From the first whistle to the final buzzer, Wolf Sports Network brings you the action you crave. Sports Pack is your all-access pass to the Wolves athletics. From football, basketball, baseball, soccer, and volleyball, and more. If the pack plays, we cover it. Passion, pride, pack. Don't miss Sports Pack.
Every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network.
Sports Pack.
Sports Pack.
Sports Pack is back.
West Georgia's one-stop shop for all things sports. Whether it's UWG, NFL, NBA, or MLB, we've got you covered on all fronts right here on Sports Pack.
Mondays and Thursdays at 6, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Will our mouths write a check that we can't cash? Find out when we answer the question on everyone's mind. Cash or trash?
For this week's Cash or Trash, I actually want to start off with this one. As you guys know, the World Series has been going on between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, and everybody thought that the Dodgers were either going to sweep or win by a majority of like 5 or 6 games max. But you know, we've seen the Toronto Blue Jays, bounce back and have a hard-fought battle versus one of the top teams in all of the MLB. Nobody thought that the Toronto Blue Jays were really going to carry on and potentially win this World Series. So I want to ask, besides Bobby Boucher over here, but I want to ask for my cash or trash. Within the 21st century that you've seen out of the World Series, this is the best World Series so far of the 21st century.
Cash. I'm cashing this one. I think if you play 2 games in the same night, but you only meant to play 1, I mean, that's already one of the best games of all time that I've ever seen. We saw amazing pitching from both sides going all the way till the 18th inning, and even then, and then Freddie Freeman walking it off. One of the greatest World Series games I've ever seen. And the fact that everyone thought that the Dodgers were going to sweep this one, and now it's a 2-2 series right now, 100% cash.
I definitely have to agree. If you look at everything that's happened this series, like the Yamamoto complete game in Game 2. When's the last time someone pitched a complete game in the World Series? Do you know? Because I feel like that doesn't happen that frequently. Like, having a starting pitcher that go that far in the World Series feels kind of crazy to me. And then, like you guys mentioned, an 18-inning game where I saw people talking about it online, like the West Coast was like, oh my goodness, guys, the game might go till midnight. How crazy is this? An average East Coast
3 a.m.
Yeah, average East Coast experience, like slapping yourself on the couch trying to stay awake to see who'd hit the home run. I would have to agree. This has probably been one of the best World Series, at least in recent memory.
I mean, the only one I think that could battle after it, there's 2 that I think that could battle after it. The 2011 World Series with the Cardinals and Rangers, just because of the David Freese situation and how that happened. The 2016 World Series with the Cubs and Cleveland Indians at the time, the Cubs ending the 108-year drought for the World Series, and the whole Game 7, for that to be pushed to Game 7. But this alone has been absolutely amazing. I mean, you've seen Shohei Ohtani go off. You've seen Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman with the walk-off homer. And even the Toronto Blue Jays really showing out and showing up, surprising everybody with that, with Will Klein as well. By the way, shout out Will Klein. Will Klein was not really known before that World Series game. But to go 4 innings and just have a complete shutout in extras is absolutely insane.
I'm going to trash it. And the reason why is because of what you just kind of said.
I'm going to trash you.
I'm going to trash you.
Okay.
I'm Grady the mediator. I say quit.
I'm going to trash it because, number one, so 2011 I think is closest because of the David Freese thing. I would actually argue, though, I think the 2017 World Series with the Astros and the Dodgers was more fun than this. I think every game in that series was really fun. And especially that game, was it Game 4 or Game 5 in Houston that went extra innings? That one was ridiculous. That one was really fun. And then also the Cubs and the Indians I think was a really good one. This one is close, but I feel like for me, you got to go 7 games for me to put you at number 1 in the 21st century, and they haven't done that yet. So if they do go 7 games, then we can come back and talk about it later. But I think you have to get to that.
I understand the extended part of it, but the moments that have happened so far up to it is absolutely insane, and can attest versus those 2016 and 2011 World Series. Because 2011 World Series, that was one singular game. I'm going to say this as a Cardinals fan. That was one singular game that, outside of Game 2, that I really, truly enjoyed with David Freese's walk-off. And the significant moment with that call. So, that's really it.
I will say, if this series goes to 7 games, it's definitely up there in contention for one of the best that we've seen in a long time. But even if, like, the Blue Jays win out from now and they win it in 6 games, I could also agree this is probably one of the best World Series of all time. But if the Dodgers win out right now, maybe not so much because everybody expected the Dodgers to win, and it's kind of.
You said win out in 6 games, Grady. You have the number 6 on your jersey and on your chest. So I want to ask you, what is your cash or trash for this week?
It has nothing to do with LeBron. I want to talk about our fantasy football league and how Joey Prater is going to make a playoff push. Cash or trash?
Honestly, I can see it. I mean, Rico Dowdle has really the Panthers announced that Rico Dowdle's their official RB1 for the rest of the season. Throwing out Chuba Hubbard over there. But Rico Dowdle has really balled out for him. I think he still has Devontae Smith. Am I correct or no?
Facts.
No, he
does.
Yeah, he does.
He does?
He's on a bye week this week.
He does.
But he has
Devontae
some good
Smith
players.
has been the number 1 receiver for the Eagles so far, with the whole A.J. Brown situation going on. So if Joey Prater
Get the dude some wide receivers, and he's making a playoff push.
if Joey Prater can continue this momentum, I'm going to backtrack on what I said a few weeks ago. If he can continue this momentum, he has a shot at a 6 or 7 seed in the playoff standings.
Because looking at the current top 6 right now, I mean,
Joey-
Aiden, JT, Richard, probably locked for the playoffs.
And Joey, out of all of his good players in these next coming up trades, by
You're right, JT.
by abusing
Joey, don't listen to him.
both our trust as friends and also rigged fantasy predictors that I put up online and tell him to use. And I will continue to steal his players until he has no one left to start on his team.
No, Joey, I will take Devontae Smith, and I will give you Malik Neighbors right now.
Joey, forget Grady said that. I, JT, would like to offer you a trade.
So, JT.
I think he wants Trey McBride.
JT, you took advantage of Joey. Joey sent out a whole testimony in the group chat saying,
I solemnly swear on my oath as a scout that I, JT Groves, did in fact scam Joey out of multiple different players by lying and abusing our friendship.
I'm so glad that you are so open and honest about that, JT. Thank you for sharing that vulnerable message.
Yeah.
That
Thank you, JT.
The Buffalo Bills fan, Jacob Thomas Groves, has put out there.
True.
What?
True.
He just said your full government name.
Bobby Boucher, your thoughts on Joey Prater potentially making a playoff push? You know all about playoffs, Bobby.
I'm going to cash it. The reason why is because, number one, like you said, Rico Dowdle's been playing really well, and with how bad Chuba's been playing, Rico's probably just going to get more and more carries at this point. He really doesn't have any injuries, to be honest. Like, Alvin Kamara is questionable this week, but like everybody else in this league is dealing with a lot of injuries. You're dealing with it. I'm dealing with it. Everybody's having a lot of injury problems, and he's not really. And he's having some really good weeks. He's going to get Devontae Smith back. And he's been playing a lot better the last couple weeks. So I think Joey can do it.
Now, JT, I want to throw it to you. You said that you had a cash or trash for this week.
Okay, so my cash or trash is, in light of the recent events, I think that baseball defensive games are the most exciting sport to watch a defensive game in. Like football, basketball, baseball, like all around, I think baseball defensive games are the most entertaining to watch.
I'm going to argue against it. I'm going to trash this take. I think that baseball games, I can agree that a defensive baseball game is much more entertaining to watch than an offensive baseball game. But I could argue that, I love to see good pitchers just being able to pitch shutouts way more than just, home run. Home run. That gets boring at time after time.
Watching balls fly out of the park is never not entertaining.
So, honestly, I love that you bring this up, JT, because you see the whole defensive side of baseball. You see these gold glove plays that, Braves fans grew up watching Andrelton Simmons, correct? Andrelton Simmons, one of the greatest.
I like the Yankees.
one of the greatest defensive shortstops of the 2010s. Probably the greatest defensive shortstop of the 2010s.
I heard that Grady used to have a pennant of Andrelton Simmons in his room when he was a kid.
I did.
Yeah. So, but honestly, when it comes to like a football aspect, I love seeing sacks. I love seeing I love seeing interceptions. But when it comes, wild statement from Nick the Fox, not Jackson Voles. Baseball. I love the defensive aspect over there. So I love seeing Gold Glove plays, and you see it with the Savannah Bananas, for example. They make baseball super entertaining with all their defensive trick plays that you see in the outfield. I don't see an entertainment football game, and I don't see an entertainment basketball game doing that similar thing. So honestly, I'm gonna cash your take, JT.
So I hate to disagree with you because you did cash my take, but have you heard of the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah, but they do offensive. They do
I want to pull by JT.
They do offensive
from my
trick
home
shots.
state of New York.
I don't see any defensive trick shots from the Harlem Globetrotters.
Valid. How do you feel about that, Michael?
JT, I love this.
Bobby.
Take. I love it. It's great.
Sorry,
I'm
Bobby.
cashing
Sorry,
it.
who's Michael?
Bobby.
Yeah, but no, I'm cashing it. I'm cashing it all day. I love watching pitchers just go out there and dominate, like Grady was saying earlier.
I said the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I love watching that. The reason why I think it's better for baseball is because there's still some entertaining games. Obviously, watching like we said earlier, watching balls fly out of the yard over and over again can be fun too. But the reason why I think it's more fun for baseball is I feel like just watching a good pitcher go out there and shove like that is just really, really impressive to watch. And then number two, the game goes by quicker. You know what I mean? Like if we're watching a very offensive baseball game, that game's probably gonna be about 4 hours long. If you're watching a really good pitching match between two guys, it's probably more about 2.5 hours with the new pitch clock especially. And then for football, I feel like most times we watch good defensive football, like the LSU Alabama game in 2011 is like one of the only times where like you have a score like 9-6 was the final. That's one of the only times where I can think where you step away from it and say, oh, those were two really good defenses. Most of the time you just go and say, oh, that was some really bad offense. You know what I mean? Like I feel like more in baseball you feel like the pitching was just better, but in football it's more like the offense sucked more than the defense was good when you watch defensive football games like that.
So Bobby Boucher, sticking with you, you said you had a cash or trash for this week.
I do. So I know the Chiefs won on Monday night. It was against a Jaden Daniels Commanders team. But watching this Chiefs team play this year, I make the claim that the Chiefs dynasty is officially dead, and we can no longer. They're still going to be a good football team. They're still going to be in playoff contention every year. But I think the era of just penciling them in as AFC West champions and having a home playoff game every year, I think that's over with.
Honestly, I completely agree. I see the Chargers and the Broncos overtaking the AFC West. I mean, we've seen this. We've said this time and time again this season. The Chargers have really shown out. I think it's the Madison beer effect for Justin Herbert out there in LA. You know that. Sly
Good question,
Fox,
JT.
Dumb Bunny. Anyways, it will be, and then Broncos have been really elusive offensively and defensively, having a top 5 defense in all of NFL, truly, accentuating on their games, and they're extending their wins. So I'm going to cash this. I don't think the Chiefs win the AFC West this year. They personally have a lot of one-score games that I wouldn't say are valid, or really face valid. So, Chiefs, I'm going to take a cash on that.
Let me jump in on that real quick because you're talking about the one-score games that you don't think are valid. And last year, that's what everybody was saying about the Chiefs. Like, one-score game. I don't think they're going to be dominant anymore. And then they still, pushed to the Super Bowl. If I remember correctly, it wasn't a very difficult path they took to get to the Super Bowl. So I guess my thing is I could see this being possible, but I'm going to have to trash it because I guess my thing is I'll believe it when I see it, I guess. That's kind of how I feel about this one.
I'm also going to have to cash this, but we were talking about one-score games like JT was just mentioning, and it's like all of their games so far this season that they've won were like 2 or 3 score games instead of just one-score games. But looking at, like you mentioned, this AFC West, it's just such a strong division now. Like Justin Herbert's playing as like a top 3 quarterback.
The beer effect,
whatever. And Bo Nix is also killing it right now. And so, I mean, those are 2 teams that I could see placing above the Chiefs in the standings. I think this AFC West is too strong now. I don't think that the Chiefs are as good as they were last year or the years past when they were making these Super Bowl runs. I don't think you can cash them in anymore, especially with teams now in the playoffs. Like, the Chiefs might make a wild card this year, but you can't guarantee that. Like, we have plenty of other teams that are able to make it. Like, the Jaguars look decent this year. The Colts are definitely going to win that division. They're the best team in the AFC right now. But we have the Bills or the Patriots. One of those teams is going to be a wild card team. You have like the Ravens when they get healthy again. They could possibly be a playoff team. Right now you got the Steelers could possibly be a playoff team. The Bengals maybe could be a playoff team. Just about any team in that division could be except the Browns. So there's plenty of good teams in the AFC, and I just don't think that you can consider the Chiefs to be a guaranteed lock anymore.
I mean, off-season acquisitions are very, very key. And you see with the Colts, they made a lot of offseason acquisitions. The Patriots, a lot of offseason acquisitions, boosting their roster and boosting their performance out on the field, leading them to 6-2 records, 7-1 records.
They're 5-3 right now.
For example, yeah.
Or the Colts, my bad, 7-1.
Yeah, the Colts are 7-1. Patriots are 6-2.
Stupid.
Right now. But so I mean, you see with all these off-season acquisitions taking flight. And speaking of flight, let's get into our segment, Flight Path. Welcome aboard Sports Out of Pocket Airlines. This is your Captain Jackson Voles speaking, and we're about to talk the highs and the lows in the sports world. It's time for Flight Path. This is your Captain Jackson Voles speaking, and welcome to Flight Path.
You kind of look like Top Gun Maverick. You just have to take off the cat ears.
Yeah, and the fox ears. Get it right. I was actually Top Gun 2 years ago for my sophomore year.
Awesome. I'm a better human after hearing that story, Jackson.
Yeah, I know, right? But with Flight Path, welcome to Flight Path. We've only done it once this season, so if y'all don't know how Flight Path works, we take a player, team, or coach we are really high in the skies on or very low on the ground on for Flight Path, and I want to start with Bobby Boucher. Bobby Boucher, it could be within any sport. Who is your Flight Path? Team, coach, or player for this week?
Got two. I got a team and a player. This will be no surprise to anybody. It's Drake May and the New England Patriots. Drake May is playing at an MVP level right now. He's got over 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions. The Patriots are 6-2 right now. They're at the top of the AFC East. They've already beaten the Bills once, and the next time they play them, they'll get to play them at home in New England. Their schedule the rest of the way is not that bad either. They got to play the Falcons this week, which they're going to just destroy us. We're freaking terrible. They do have the Buccaneers coming up. That'll be a tough game. But after that, they don't have a ton of tough competition. The Ravens looked scary at the beginning of the year, but they've been really bad. Lamar's been hurt for a while. The Giants losing Scatabo, that makes them less scary now. Really, the only after they play this week they play the Falcons, which is we're kind of mid, whatever. The Buccaneers are really the only really good team they have left to play. So the New England Patriots are looking like they're going to finish this year as AFC East champions and have a home playoff game.
I don't think JT agrees with that.
I disagree with that statement.
No, I completely agree. I mean, with Drake May, he has been a phenomenal player this season. And the Patriots don't really have any elite weapons. I mean, they have Mac Hollins. They have DeMario Douglas. I mean, they have an older Stephon Diggs.
Still Stephon Diggs.
He hasn't even been elite this season. And Drake May was put in a perfect situation with the Patriots bringing in Mike Vrabel, who has been within that Patriots organization before, and bringing in a guy like Josh McDaniels, who has had a lot of success with field general type quarterbacks, because Drake May, he isn't really super mobile, but Drake May has a lot of shines and highlights, very similar. I'm not going to say he's Tom Brady-esque, but I would say he's very field general-esque, and Drake May has had a phenomenal season so far, and I'm very excited to see what he does the rest of this season. Now, I'm going to throw it to JT, who's a big Bills fan, who's on the opposition side of the AFC East champions, Patriots, whole debacle. JT, who's your Flight Path player, coach, or team for this week?
Man, I'm high on the Bills. I'm always high on the Bills. So that doesn't need to be said. One team that I am high on, though, that's not the Bills, is Georgia Tech. I think that Georgia – and Grady may disagree with me because he's a Georgia fan, but I think Georgia Tech, they're kind of cooking something up. As long as Haynes King can stay healthy, I think they have a clear shot at winning that ACC. And I think they're going to make a deep playoff run this year as long as everyone on that team stays healthy, because they have a really complete offense. They've kind of had a Georgia syndrome this year where they get off to a really bad first half start, but the teams can't put them – yeah, whatever you say, buddy. And they come back in the second half and end up winning those close games against teams that aren't that good, but I don't think that's indicative of how good of a team they actually are. They just get off to a slow start sometimes.
Awful take, JT. I'm Grady Hamilton, and I hate Georgia Tech.
I do too.
I mean, with Georgia Tech, we were looking at the rest of their schedule. I mean, obviously, NC State, winnable game. Boston College has not been solid since that first week. Versus Pitt, I mean, Pitt is going to be a really tougher game over there. I think it's a winnable game, but the only non-winnable foreseeable game for the future is Georgia. So Georgia Tech, big ACC believer in them. You know what's crazy? Grady Hamilton said that 2 weeks ago about Georgia Tech. He said Georgia Tech's overrated. They're not credible. They have one-score wins. Grady,
I don't remember saying this.
He said that because he hates them, probably.
Grady Hamilton, would you like to make a defense for that case that you spoke upon a couple weeks ago here on Out of Pocket?
I still think that Georgia Tech is a fraud.
I genuinely don't remember Grady saying that.
I remember saying this 2 weeks ago. Grady Hamilton, solemnly swore that I said something really awful about this Georgia Tech football team. I think they play down.
Be nice.
They constantly play down to their opponent, and I feel like they have an opportunity to lose one of these games before they reach Georgia in that final game.
All right, Grady, I'm going to stick with you. Who's your flight team, player, or coach?
So I have one player that I want to talk about. It's actually on JT's fantasy team, sitting on his bench, so you should definitely consider starting him this week. It's Bam Knight. So Bam Knight is currently the RB1 for the Arizona Cardinals, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowgirls. I mean, they have one of the worst rushing defenses in all of football right now. They just released Michael Carter after last week, who they were kind of splitting snaps last week. And what's-his-face is still on injury. DeMarcado's still hurt. Whatever the other guy's name is, that's hurt. But Bam Knight is currently that starter, and so I'm really high on him this week, especially against the Dallas Cowboys team that has not been able to stop the run at all this year. They gave up over 200 to Rico Dowdle a few weeks ago, and they might give up 200 this week to Bam Knight.
Bam Knight, I mean, you see with the Arizona Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are ranked in the bottom 23 to 30 range when it comes to opposition yards.
Yeah, they gave up like the 6th or 7th most rushing yards this season so far.
Sorry, say that one more time.
They gave up the 6th or 7th most rushing yards this season so far.
One more time.
They gave up the 6th or 7th.
Yeah, that run defense is very, very sluggish, very, very, not very strong when it comes to the oppositional side of the trenches. So I'm not really a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys over there. I'm more of a fan of the Foxes. I'm a big
Foxes. Never heard of
Foxes. The big Foxes over there. But for my
Philly Foxes,
it's not a team.
My flight team, player and or coach, for this week is I'm going to throw it with, Baltimore Orioles' new manager, Craig Albanese. No, I'm going to do it with Craig Albanese. I mean, ever since that he joined the Stephen Vogt coaching staff with Cleveland a couple years ago when Stephen Vogt was hired over in Cleveland, he's been absolutely phenomenal, turning a mid-tier team into deep playoff run. I mean, we saw it in 2023, we saw it in 2024, and we saw it in 2025. Even though they were a first-round exit. And I think he can really help the younger staff over in Baltimore kind of turn it around. I mean, you have highlighted guys over there like Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, Jeremiah Jackson, for example, over there. And Craig Albanese is a great fit for that Baltimore Orioles organization. So I want to ask the other baseball fan here, Bobby Boucher, I mean, you dabble in football, but you also dabble in baseball. What are your thoughts about the Baltimore Orioles hiring Craig Albanese? It's very hard to say his name. Craig Albanese, the Cleveland Guardians hitting coach from last season.
I think it's a good hire for two reasons. Number one, I think it's good because the Orioles are a really young team. So I think having a younger manager come in instead of somebody that's like 60 years old, like Brian Snitker or somebody like that coming in, I think is a better decision, or Bruce Bochy, some of these older guys that teams have to kind of fit in the locker room a bit more. And then number two, I think it's a good decision because the Guardians have had success, like you said, the last couple of years that Stephen Vogt's been the manager and he's come over there. He's helped out a lot, so I think it's a good hire for the Orioles.
Yeah, based off of what Bobby said, I definitely think what we saw out of him in Cleveland is definitely good. And like you said, this is a very young Orioles team. Do I think it was a good hire? Yes. Do I think they're gonna make it to the playoffs next season? Probably not. I mean, this is still such a tough AL East division. We had 3 playoff teams this season with the Blue Jays, who are currently in the World Series, and then we also have the Yankees and the Red Sox, all make the postseason. So it's going to be a tough road to get there, but I do like the hire. I do feel like they could definitely finish with more wins next season.
So I want to kind of throw in one more player for a flight team before we shift into a quick song interruption. I want to ask the Braves fans here, Kurt Suzuki, was hired as the manager over in L.A. for the Los Angeles Angels, and the Angels have not made the playoffs since 2014, and it's time for Mike Trout to make another playoffs and a ring before he retires. He's at the ripe old age of 34, heading into the 2026 season. So, what do you like out of the hire with Kurt Suzuki?
First of all, I love Kurt Suzuki. When he was here, those 2 years he was here, he was incredible. Did a great job. So I love Kurt Suzuki for that. Typically catchers make good managers. There's a lot of managers in the MLB now that were former catchers. Stephen Vogt, for example. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I really predicting how a manager is going to do is kind of pretty impossible to predict. It's kind of impossible to predict how head coaches in football are going to do too that have never been that before. So this is especially harder to even try and pinpoint how good he is or not going to be. But I think Kurt Suzuki's really good. I liked what Ron Washington was doing in Anaheim before he had to step away. So I like Kurt. So I think he'll do a good job.
I mean, we see all these player coaches, former players turned into coaches who have really turned these teams around. For example, Stephen Vogt. I mean, Stephen Vogt had a 13, 14-year career in the MLB.
And then immediately became a manager.
And then he immediately became a manager. So, I mean, I would love to see Kurt Suzuki turn around this team. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this segment. We're going to go show some love to the other shows. And when we come back, we're going to get fired up about our NFL teams and West Georgia's final 2 games of the season. Stay tuned.
This is former MLB All-Star Justin Masterson, and you're listening to Sports Out of Pocket on Wolf Sports Network.
Join Wolf Sports Network as we present our 4th tailgate of the season on October 25th.
Breaking down the game between the Central Arkansas Bears and your West Georgia Wolves.
And other matchups from across the college football world.
The action starts at noon, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Tailgate sponsored by Campus Services and Westwood Apartments. Campus Services, from dining, parking, IDs, or mail, visit the Momentum Center, Westwood's Apartments. 100% student living, flat rate utilities, no hidden fees. Wolf Sports Network is back and will feature 3 live shows this fall.
On Mondays and Thursdays at 6, Sports Pack has you covered with all breaking sports news at the University of West Georgia and the entire sports landscape.
On Wednesdays at 6, Sports Out of Pocket is bringing the energy with zero chill, talking all the hot-button issues in professional sports.
And on Friday at noon, we get you ready for your college football weekend with the Playbook.
You won't want to miss out on all the action this semester at Wolf Sports Network.
Man, this beat brings back memories. Anyways, let me tell you all about this show on Wolf Sports Network. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. It's the playbook. Hear us talk about all college basketball, football, and baseball. Fridays at noon. The Playbook, only on Wolf Sports Network.
It ain't just a game. It's everything. This is where the best separate themselves from the rest. But to be the best, you gotta read the best. And the best is the Playbook.
Let's go. Yeah, go.
Tune into the Playbook, Fridays at noon on Wolf Sports Network.
It's time to get heated with Fire Me Up.
That's right. It is time to get fired up for this spooky spectacular of Sports Out of Pocket Halloween edition about our NFL teams. I actually want to go last, so I'm going to throw it to the Bills fan, Mr. JT Groves over here.
I'm going to speak on JT's behalf.
We actually wrote scripts for each other this week.
Yeah,
so Grady's going to read what I had to write.
I'm going to talk about JT's team, the Buffalo Bills. So what we're seeing is we came out really strong. Hold on, let me pull up the script again. So yeah, we started out really strong in this past week against the Carolina Panthers. We came off the bye week. We were going into it on a 2-game losing streak, and then we came back, hit our bye week, and then we won by 31 points this last week to the Carolina Panthers. But now we have a tough matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, who we always seem to get the best of in the regular season. But when we hit the playoffs, that's normally when we end up crashing out and losing. Interesting that you put that, JT. But, yeah, this team, I feel like they need to make a trade at the deadline. I feel like we need to probably get another receiver. Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman are doing decent, but we don't have a clear wide receiver one. And I just don't want somebody like Stephon Diggs to go back. Like somebody that has that same kind of personality. Stephon Diggs is not what you need in Buffalo. But if you get somebody like, I heard Chris Olave in talks, I heard Jalen Waddle in talks. There's some guys that like would be solid enough to be a wide receiver one in Buffalo. And then also they need some safety help because we're starting to get some guys back. Maxwell Harrison came back this week this week for the Buffalo Bills, and he actually put on a show. He did pretty well. But they still need help at safety. Hold on, pull up the script again. Yeah, they still need help at safety, and so we need to make a trade for literally every safety in the NFL.
Now, before we get into the Falcons and their floundering against the Miami Dolphins this past weekend, I want to say something about my Philadelphia Eagles.
You said you were going last.
I'm going
Nope,
last.
nope,
said you were going
too
last.
bad. With my Philadelphia
it's my show.
Eagles, we won 38-20 versus the Giants. I know there were a lot of controversial calls that were being thrown around there, but Saquon Barkley really broke out 150 yards rushing for that game against the New York Giants. And that's the kind of dominance and assertiveness I've liked to see out of my Philadelphia Eagles that I have not seen all season. I said, for example, like last season, we saw the Chiefs having a not-so-credible 15-2 season, and that's kind of what it's looking like for the Philadelphia Eagles. They haven't really had credible wins. I mean, they've skated by the skin of their teeth, and, I really like to see a dominant win against the New York Giants this past weekend. So shout out Jalen Hurts, shout out Saquon Barkley for really holding down the fort this past weekend against the New York Giants. Now I want to throw
Wait, Jackson, you're back?
Yeah. Now I want to throw it to the two Falcons fans. 34-10 loss versus the Miami Dolphins.
I'm a Bills fan, but the letter Grady gave me just says, "Give me Kyle Pitts" in big bold letters.
Oh,
so
that was supposed to be mine.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so Richard, speaking of the Falcons, Kyle Pitts is still on your team, and I don't appreciate that. And I mentioned it earlier that if you don't give him to me, there will be consequences.
Brady, did you see Kyle Pitts is injured?
I did.
The Falcons might be cooked.
I did see that.
They might
the
be
Falcons
cooked
are
bad.
probably going to lose this week to whoever they play.
You know who else is cooked? Kirk Cousins and the whole quarterback situation over in Atlanta. Bobby Boucher. You're from Louisiana, really close to Atlanta, close to Georgia. I want to ask you, what are your thoughts?
I came on this show a couple weeks ago, and I said that the Falcons-Panthers game was the worst Falcons game that I've witnessed in my 19 years of life. And that quickly got followed up and taken over by this past weekend with the Dolphins. That was tragic. That was the worst game I've ever seen of Falcons football. Kirk Cousins looked like he hasn't thrown a football since the second half of that Raiders game last year when he got benched. That was the worst quarterback performance I've seen in the National Football League. The guy looked like he had no idea what he was doing back there. The Dolphins' rush defense is like the worst in the league. I'm not completely sure exactly where they are, but they might be 32nd. They're down there at least. They're horrible against the run, and Bijan Robinson could not do anything against that.
Oh yeah,
defensive front.
25 yards and a fumble.
Can I read some stats?
That was beautiful.
Can I read some stats for this game? So 9 receptions for 59 yards. Oh, never mind. This is just Kyle Pitts stats. The Falcons, yeah, they looked horrible against the Miami Dolphins. Probably the worst team in the NFL right now. Tua looked like prime Kirk. Kirk looked like
outside of the
Tua.
Jets.
Grady said it last week. Kirk Cousins starting that game, I feel like everyone knew it. Like, everyone had to have known that was a step back. I know, I know the Falcons wanted to try something else to try to, switch it up, but everyone had to know that was going to end badly. There's no way starting Kirk Cousins is going to be better than trying to actually, move our franchise along. I just feel like it's one big step back with the Falcons every single week.
Easton Stick is still on your roster.
Jackson, just walk out,
Michael
Just
Penix
the
back
door's
in
right
here.
there.
Michael
Just
Penix
walk
is
out.
going back
Easton
in.
Stick, FCS legend.
Hey, if he
now,
went the
Dude,
ball,
I used to actually be a fan of him when I was a kid. I had a North Dakota State pennant in my room. Shout out.
actually.
Did you really, JT? That's
Grady
awesome, dude.
really did have that in his room. Sorry, I meant Grady. Sorry.
Grady. Oh
Grady-
yeah, I remember
Grady
you
did?
gave that to me when we were little kids.
Oh, that is true.
And I
So
kept that in my room.
Me and
and
JT have
cherished
been
it for
friends forever.
My entire life.
Absolutely
That was really nice of him.
insane. Now I want to kind of divert to our West Georgia Wolves having a comeback win, 18-17 versus Central Arkansas this past week, homecoming. We have 2 more games, one against North Alabama away, and the final home game, November 15th. Make sure to tune into our Wolf Sports Network tailgate show live at 11:30 a.m. On that day versus Utah Tech. What did you like seeing out of this West Georgia Wolves team making a tremendous comeback, especially with the last homecoming win? Actually, it was very nice to see a last homecoming win in my final year as a student. So.
Yeah,
You know,
so
I'm
JT
gonna
was
ask
at this game, and he was FaceTiming me, and we were having, like, telepathic, like, notes and memories. We were taking notes of
It's
this game.
kind of crazy. I've never experienced that before.
He was at this game, and, like, he was giving me all the input and stuff like that. And he even lost his voice at that game, just, like, screaming in that fourth quarter. I just heard it was just an amazing game. But Davin Winder needs to learn how to throw a football. Our running game finally got going. Davin Winder finally started making passes late in the game, but then missed a wide-open 2-point. That could have put us up by 3. Luckily, it didn't matter. Our defense stepped up when it mattered most. And, I mean, I did not think we had a chance going into that fourth quarter. Our team looked horrific, and we ended up getting it done. And I'm just happy to see us go into next week with a win under our belt.
Grady, what do you think happened after, like, a dynamic start to the season? How do you think we got absolutely cooked so bad these last couple games?
Honestly, looking at our last few weeks, we played a bunch of ranked teams, and Davin Winder was coming off an injury.
And we also had Colton Fitzgerald.
And we had
as
Colton
well.
Fitzgerald at quarterback, which was not a great move. Our defense was giving up an average of like 40 points a game, and we could not get our run game going. So overall, these past 3 or 4 weeks, I mean, we can't really let those define us because we came right back. That win, the win that we had this week during homecoming, is just going to propel us for the rest of the season. We should be able to win these next 2 games. We're favored in both of them, I believe. So we should be able to win these next 2 games and finish with a solid record.
Bobby Boucher, final statement before we wrap up the show.
I took 2 things away from that game on Saturday. Number one, the resiliency that we showed in the game. Down 17-6 going into the fourth quarter. Like, I thought the game was over. Me, Brandon, and Daniel were down on the field for that game, and like it just felt like
you were in the
was
game
really-
actually.
We were. I was in the game. I was playing linebacker. I was out there.
Yeah.
I transferred for the.
That's why we won in the fourth quarter.
Exactly.
Bobby Boucher came back.
Bobby Boucher came back at
At
halftime.
halftime.
Do you
And
remember
going
when
into the fourth
Bobby
quarter?
Boucher came back?
Exactly.
And
led the West Georgia Wolves to
won
win the
their
homecoming game?
Go to the Burn Bowl.
Yeah.
But yeah, the resiliency was impressive to me, being down 17-6 and just staying calm and coming back, being composed and winning that, finding a way to win that game. As a Georgia fan, I've seen that a lot this year, just being resilient. And it was good to see them show that on Saturday. And then the other thing is Owen Dupree is an absolute dog. That man turned into prime Julio Jones in the fourth quarter of that game. He was unstoppable.
No, he's prime
Shout out to him.
Julian Edelman. He's playoff Julian Edelman. When it comes down to that.
Why would you say that, Jackson?
Why are you comparing him to Julian Edelman?
That is
what
a
about his game?
conversation.
Things are getting racy.
Let's
not get racy here,
That's
guys.
a conversation for another day. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this spooky, spectacular Halloween edition of Sports Out of Pocket 2025. My final Halloween here at WSN. But for me, JT, Grady, and Bobby Boucher, we will see y'all next week.